Ladies and gentlemen, you have reached Tuesday night. That means it's time for the Bama Standard. Before we do anything, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. Jump down in the comments or the live chat. I'm your host, Justin Riley, and we are always brought to you by Oakmont Financial Partners and Workspace Solutions. With me, as always, is a legendary man, a man that set many records and broke many hearts. The SEC, 1999 SEC linebacker, Mr. Marvin Constant. What is going on, my friend?
Hey, roll tide, roll tide.
Roll tide, man. Another day closer. We are 11 days out. I know you're ready.
I've been ready.
Or should I say, are your bets ready?
We're getting there.
We're getting there.
We're getting there.
Well, folks, we have got quite the guest. It took some time and a little bit of an adventure to get him, but he's here. Marvin, I'm going to let you introduce this man. He's definitely a fan favorite.
Oh, man, listen, man, when you say one of the best quarterbacks you ever played at Alabama, I might like his dad a little bit more, though. Hey, guys, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Mr. Brodie Croyle.
Man, what an introduction.
What's going on, brother?
There for 1 second, he was almost about to compliment me, and then he just took a right, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm a freshman and big Mighty Python armed Marvin Constant right back to hazing me.
Right?
You know? Like I'm running down the hall all over again.
The good old days.
That's right. Yeah,
He forgot you were the
anymore.
guy that set records and sent you right back to training camp.
That's right. No doubt. No doubt.
Well,
Appreciate y'all having me.
I love you both.
I appreciate that. That's all right. I'll take it.
Well, since he put you on the spot, go ahead. Let's open up with a good Marvin Constant story. You got anything that
Nope.
our audience
He's
would love
got
to hear?
I'm grateful that all of us just grow and mature and become the men that we probably always wanted to be, you know? Because if I tell a story about him, he's immediately going to throw one back at me, and it's just not worth it, you know?
That's what we're here for.
No.
Nah, Justin, we're not engaging in that
No,
behavior.
Hey.
we're not engaging in that.
Oh,
But,
come on, man.
no,
We're
for
not
real,
politically
man.
correct here.
I will say this as a young man coming to the University of Alabama. I came from a small school, right? So I came from this small 1A school, and I also came with probably a lot of hype that came with it, whether that was warranted or not warranted. And, you know, I quickly learned the idea of who Marvin Constant was in a positive way, because you're the freshman, and then you come in the quarterback, so you're immediately given title by certain people, but giving entitlement probably by your teammates in their eyes. But Marvin he is probably the one that I would say danced that line of making sure I remembered who I was. And with that is a freshman that is trying to prove my place just like everybody else is. But at the same point in time was just nurturing enough that would never let me stay there. And that's one thing I always appreciated about Marvin was he knew right where to push you to a line, but knew when to put his arm around you and be like, hey, man, you're going to be all right here. And I remember those. So, man, I appreciate it. I also remember them tiny calves. I'll leave that out of there, but whatever.
Hey, but tiny but powerful, man. Tiny. But
That's right. That's exactly.
I was so impressed with your overall career, man, and just seeing the evolution of Brodie Croyle, man. I mean, rock star. What more can you say? Rock star. Yeah. You say the name Brodie Croyle in Alabama, and everybody knows. Rock star.
Oh, gracious. I don't know about that. But I will say I am I'm going to get the privilege to go back and speak to a lot of people that made me going to college on scholarship and Marvin going to college on scholarship, helping make those things possible. And, you know, as I think through what I'm going to be able to share with those people, you know, there's so much about the University of Alabama that made me who I am today. Yes, does it allow you to possibly have a name that can maybe open doors for you? But yes, that's the beautiful thing about the University of Alabama. You know, I mean, it's one of those things that, man, if you played there, man, you are a part of it for the rest of your life. But the life lessons that I learned of going in as I'm going to call it a young man, possibly even a boy, and the lessons that I learned of leaving as a man and preparing for life are things that, man, I carry with me to this day. I can remember, honestly, we all have these moments in our life. We also, and from a football standpoint, there's these moments in the game, these plays in the game that kind of determine the outcome of that game. Whether they be good, whether they be bad. From a quarterback, where you threw a touchdown, where you threw an interception. It's all the matter of inches of which way those plays go, but they're all going to dictate kind of those. I've always heard my dad, and I believe also, there's also these plays in life that help shape and mold you and help you become either who you are or who you aren't, one way or another. And I remember as a sophomore in college, I just won the starting job. Like, truly, I was the starter, not sharing it, not sharing playing time. Like, I'd won the starting job as a sophomore, and that was Shula's first year. I was playing for a guy named Dave Rader. Two names that, man, probably aren't as remembered as obviously as what we are now. But, man, I remember this moment of won the job. We were playing South Florida. As far as I remember, it was the last game that was ever played at Legion Field. And I played okay, to be quite honest with you. I threw a touchdown, threw an interception, threw for a couple 100 yards. We won the game big, but I mean, I didn't play great. I didn't play terrible. But we're supposed to win the game. And I think we won 41-19 or something like that. Anyway, we're watching film, and as film study goes, you're sitting there and the coach reminds every bad play over and over and over and tells you all the bad things you did. And then, then we get to the touchdowns and he skips them. It's like it didn't even happen. And then we get to the interception, and he rewound this play over and over and over and over. I mean, 7 or 8 times before I finally went, Coach, I get the point. We won the game. Can we move on to the next one? And, man, he asked the other quarterbacks to leave the room. And we sat there in silence and in darkness before he finally said these words that I'll never forget and were a moment of my life. He said, son, if you take anything from me, he said, I hope it's this. He said, you play to a standard every single day. He said, I don't care if it's in the film room. I don't care if it's in the weight room. I don't care if it's on the practice field. He said, I don't care if you're playing in front of 100,000 people. He said, whatever was your best on any given day, he said, that's the mark. He said, but not only is it the mark, it's also the starting point. So I expect that every single day. And he said, if you think I'm talking about just football, he said, you're wrong. And honestly, that was one of those moments. It wasn't like it was this huge turning point, but it went, you know what, if I want to try to achieve what it is that I want to achieve, and that's to play in the NFL, something that I'd wanted to do since I was 11 years old, then you know what? I have to change the way that I prepare. I have to change the way I expect. I have to change the way that I lead. And it was a turning point in my life of going, you know what? Talent can get you so far, but this idea of work ethic, man, and never settling for less than your best shifted that day. I'd heard it my whole life, but it's one thing to hear it from your parents and your dad and all these different things, man. It's like, whatever, that's what parents are supposed to say. But to hear it from my coach, and to fast forward 2 years and I'm a senior, and he didn't tell me this, I had to read it, but he gave me the greatest compliment that I've, to this day, as a football player ever received. And it wasn't that I could throw it. I did nothing for that gift. Man, that was a gift God gave to me that, man, I can still go out there and probably throw it as good as I could when I was 18 years old. That's just something that I did nothing for.
My shoulder would fall off.
But, man, he said in something that I read, he said, Brodie's the most prepared player that I've ever coached. And that was something that I could control. And it took me back to 2 years before. And I went, he doesn't realize that 2 years earlier, he set the standard for making that mark. And, I still carry that to this day. I go, you know what? One thing I can control is every meeting, every event, every speaking engagement, every whatever it might be, I can be the most prepared person in that room. And man, that's just one of a million things that I could sit back and, just from a leadership perspective, from a building a team and having to have a team to make the reality for 170 plus kids come to life, and man, how that team works, and just how you build a game plan, how you execute the game plan, how you prepared for the game plan that might not be working, the things that you can't control. My gratitude to the University of Alabama. I could go on for this whole hour if you really want me to.
So what are you doing now? What are you doing these days?
What am I doing these days? Well, I'm talking to you at 6:20 at night. But man, so in 1974, my mom and dad started a place called Big Oak Ranch. But
I know all about it.
I know you know all about it. But it's a Christian home for children that need a chance. And what we do is we offer that chance, and we do it through what we believe God intended family to be, and that's a godly man and woman living in a home, and showing them what a husband and wife and how you honor that relationship, and what a parent is supposed to look like, because we believe what a child repeatedly hears and repeatedly sees, they're eventually going to repeat. But to be honest with you, that dream started while he was at the University of Alabama. He had one of those plays in his life. When he was 19 and playing at Alabama, he went and worked at a summer camp, met a little boy from the streets of New Orleans whose mother was a prostitute. He was the banker and the timekeeper for his mother. And my dad shared with this little boy how he could become a Christian and how he could change his life. And the boy came back the following summer and shared with Dad what he had taught him summer before, and just realized that, man, he had been given a gift. And what was he going to do with it? He played at Alabama, had a chance to go play in the NFL, and went and met with Coach Bryant. And Coach Bryant said, don't play pro ball unless you're willing to marry it. And he wasn't willing to marry it, but he got to sit there for an hour and share with him this dream, this vision of, at the time, giving little boys a chance at life. And walked out and never looked back. And that was almost 50 years ago at this point in time. And since that time, it grew from a little farmhouse with 5 boys into, man, we now are about to start our 25th home. We have 170 plus kids that live with us on a daily basis. And we've had over 2,000 children that have had a chance to see a different way of life. And it's just, people, I have people ask me, man, when'd you surrender to the ministry? I'm like, man, I ain't surrendered to nothing. Like, literally every day I go, like, out of all the people in the world that could have got chosen to get to do this, man, God chose me. And so, man, I'm eternally grateful for every phase of my life. And that's hard for Alabama fans to receive sometimes, because I was one of those fortunate few that was recruited by Dubose, played for Fran, practiced for Price, and finished with Shula. So I learned how to deal with people at a very, very young age and deal with different personalities. But, man, just the gratitude of seeing that now, but then the gratitude of getting to now live out my life's calling. And I realized that now all of that was played a part in getting to do what I get to do now, man. I love it, man. Our kids teach us more about love, perseverance, and, man, just the ability to keep getting up than we'll ever teach them. But I'm glad that they let us stick along.
Well, I tell you, man, I don't know how y'all do y'all Christmases and other events in your facilities, but if you got about 3-4 kids that need sponsoring for Christmas presents or anything, please get my number from Justin.
Yeah.
And whatever they need, I don't have a problem doing it.
And I don't know how many people are listening right now, but I can now come up with whatever we need for 3 or 4 kids. I didn't get a cap. I didn't get this is how much. We take no state, no federal funds. So, we're 100% privately funded. So I appreciate that. And I will go find the most expensive thing that any 3 or 4 of our kids needs. And you got to now own up to it. So I'll be back on next week.
Hey, come on. Opening week 2. We averaging around one.
But in all seriousness, please get my number from Justin. And if you got some kids who need some stuff around, please let me know. So I don't have a problem helping the kids out, man. And every year I look for kids to help out. And my sister, she used to do a lot of volunteer work here in Atlanta with the Covenant House, but she's moved on from that. So, and I would help those, some of those kids out. So, so every year, I try to find, 2, 3, 4 kids, man, just try to help them get whatever they need, because I know that's a hard feeling to wake up on Christmas and you got nothing.
That's right. Yeah. Well, man, I appreciate that, and that's Christmas is one of the most fun days of the year, because when we get new kids, we're a long-term facility. That's the idea is that, man, we're the place that you can forever call family. Like that's where we want to be your last stop. It doesn't always work out that way, but that is our goal going into every placement. And so many of our kids, have never had a Christmas, like a true Christmas, like we deem it as, man, just waking up, having hot chocolate, getting to see everybody else open presents, getting to see the just the joy that comes from that. But then just what the other side of it is being able to teach them to see them go from Christmas 1, which is all about you and opening presents, to now we have kids that live with us for 4, 5, 6, 8 years. And now to see them and their joy is to see the latter them get to experience Christmas for the first time and get to see their realities and their perspective begin to shift. That, it's no longer about me, it's about something else. And then just how that conversation honestly leads into the bigger conversation of, man, it's not even about that, it's about the one that gave it for you. And just how that whole season, it's a beautiful, probably one of the most beautiful times at Big O.
Well, you better call me, man, because I'm serious.
All right.
Hey, not only that, we will advertise it on here, not bragging, but we average anywhere between 1,000 to 4,000 viewers each week. So I think in that little span there, we can find some folks who'll be more than anxious to provide for that and make some kids' Christmas, or multiple kids' Christmases, come true.
Man, go to bigoak.org, and there are lots of ways to get involved. Man, from being house parents, which is to me the highest calling that there is, to be the hands and feet of Jesus on the front lines, fighting for children that don't share your name, your blood, possibly even your skin color. But man, you were called to be their mom and called to be their dad, and to go live that out in front of them, all for the chance that one day they might ask you the question, what makes you different? And we're building houses. We have opportunity there, but there's a lot of other ways to get involved, from volunteering to support to just getting a better understanding of all the different multifaceted things that it is that we do, from kids all the way from 5 years old all the way up to 22 years old. Because Justin, we got one young man that is 21 years old. He's at the University of Alabama. He is majoring in what you do. That's broadcast journalism. And
okay.
He says he wants to be the next Stephen A. So we'll see where that goes. But and just to see where he came from and where he is now, it's pretty cool.
That's what's up. What's up. Well, let's talk some football. I got to start out with that defense you faced in practice your freshman and senior year was full of NFL veterans. After facing them each week, how much easier were games?
I don't remember them being that good, to be quite honest with you.
You hear that, Kenny King, Jarrett Johnson?
You know what, though, man? I was 19 years old, and I thought I could throw a football through a car wash and it wouldn't get wet. There is a piece of me that really did believe that. Like, I was at that time, I was pretty confident in my abilities, and I got humbled really quickly by that defense. Jarrett Johnson was one of my closest friends and my roommate. Somehow we ended up roommates as a freshman and a senior. Maybe they were just trying to get me straightened out, and he was the best person to put me with, I reckon. But, oh, man, he treated me like a little brother, and I remember running to one drill from the next, and he just came up and hit me with an elbow, and straight up, I was on my head, and I'm just like, what just happened? Like, then you got Kenny King, who acts like he's just him and Kendall Moorhead just kind of slowly, methodical, and then, man, all of a sudden you say Hut, and it's like, whoa.
Hold on.
Yep.
Kendall was my roommate for 2 years. Kendall moved like a sloth. Him and Kenny King. There was nothing fast about them until the ball snapped.
Yes, but when that ball snapped, it was like, what happened? But one thing I do remember, Justin, more than anything, is man, whenever they would go cover 2, I knew we always had a mismatch because the middle linebacker, man, was always a little slower than what you would face during a game or maybe in other times. And, man, so we always could hit a seam up the middle. That was always a mismatch for us. So, yeah, that was something I always looked forward to. For all our listening audience,
Marvin Constant audience.
I was nursing a bad wheel at the time.
Oh, okay, yeah. Speaking of your freshman year, having that confidence, there's one thing that stuck out to me the most. You upstaged Eli Manning in that game against Ole Miss. When you came off the bench when Tyler got hurt, where does that rank on your list of favorite games?
I think it's easier to look back on it now. When you're in the moment, you're not thinking that you're playing Eli Manning and that he's going to end up being a 2-time Super Bowl champion or number 1 overall pick, man. You're prepared. You know who their defense is. You know what we're trying to exploit, and you're just kind of waiting for your opportunity. And so in the moment, I'd have just said it honestly wasn't all that. I mean, we ended up getting them pretty good that game. So, the games that you remember, unfortunately, are the games that you fought really hard. And sometimes, like, one of the games that stands out to me the most is the Tennessee game where we went into 6-7 overtimes. And, I can look back at that game and go, that was an awesome game. Even though we didn't win, that was an awesome game to be a part of. But, now, obviously, if I ever see Eli, that's something I can say. And he easily could say, well, what happened the next year? And be like, well,
Well, maybe him and Peyton will have you on their Monday Night Football show.
Dude, is that not great?
It's awesome.
It?
Yeah.
That's quality TV,
really
man.
Is. Oh, it's
best guess of the season had to be Marshawn Lynch.
Easy.
I don't know if I caught that one.
Oh, you need to go back and watch it.
Highly entertaining.
Never a dull moment with Marshawn.
Never a dull moment.
As we saw 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned something earlier, and I have to bring it up. Today's fan doesn't understand what it was like during your era. Dennis Franchione left in the middle of the night. Mike Price hung out for, 20 minutes? And then Mike Shula was said, hey, come here and fix this. Mm-hmm. To us, you seemed unfazed, but how did it affect you?
It's a really good question because it's really easy to look back at things and go, that was a difficult situation. But honestly, I was about to say as a young man, but really in life in general, kind of the prerequisite of a persevering spirit and mindset is you remove the temptation to quit or to feel sorry for yourself. I mean, those are just two things that if you have those two characteristics, chances are you're not going to complain and you're going to deal with whatever comes your way. And, I think, not to take it back to the ranch, but I think growing up the way that I grew up, you always had to turn the page. For example, say that I have this best friend that lives with me. And especially back then when we didn't have everything that we have now, there might be a friend that lives at the ranch, and I wake up next morning and I say, hey, Dad, I'm gonna go play with Ron. He's like, buddy, I'm sorry, but Ron isn't here anymore. And you have to develop this, you know what? I'm going to love them while I have them. Yeah. Like, I don't know how long I'm going to have them, but I'm going to give them everything I got while I have them. And, I've also seen the boys and the girls that I grew up with that were my brothers and my sisters that are trying to put the pieces of their life back together. And who am I to complain that I'm the starting quarterback at the University of Alabama and I just went through 3 head coaches in a 6-month period? It's easy to look at it and go, that's not exactly ideal, but in the world that I come from, man, that ain't nothing to complain about. All that is a pivot. All that is a pivot. Yeah. All that is a pivot. and you just work with what you got the best that you can. And, I look back now and I go, I was being prepared for a life of change, a life of constantly being willing to pivot. But, I also look back at it and go, I think the Lord was trying to tell me something a long time ago that maybe football wasn't what it's supposed to be for me.
You know, but I'll tell you, it was crazy. We win the SEC championship in '99. We played the 2000 season. They fired Dubose 1 year removed from that. Frantoni comes in, and we're like, you're going to fire this man after one bad season, and we just won the SEC championship the season before?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah. Well, let me say this. I went, like, nobody can question my love for the University of Alabama. I went to the University of Alabama with an option-style quarterback, and anybody that's ever seen me run knows that I'm not an option-style system. You know what I'm saying? The best thing about that system was they allowed me to audible. Anytime they would call it option.
Hey, Tyler, what do you always say? You got to hold the rope.
Yeah, hold the rope. Yeah, that's
Frantoni. You got to hold the rope.
Yeah, that's
now,
a whole nother
Tyler seemed to
conversation.
like that system, though.
Well, Tyler has muscles and
he was benching 400 plus pounds and squatting 5.
I mean,
you didn't want any parts in that, huh?
No. Like I'll do a fake option, drop back and throw it deep. Like I'm not fast enough to outrun anybody.
Actually, I gotta defend that because when y'all went to Columbia in 2005, of course we beat Mike. That was a signature win for you and Coach Shula, beating Steve Spurrier in South Carolina at their place. But one of the things that stood out to me, you pulled the ball down a lot that game, and you embarrassed a few defenders.
Yeah, fear can do a lot of things for your speed. It can make you elusive, and it can make you fast.
Well, you had a lot of signature wins that season. One of those, of course, we had to bring up the game against USM. Of course, USM always plays us tough, and we hate it. But then the catch happened. Describe that moment, and did it really happen mainly because of your superior ball placement skills?
There's a longer story to it that I'm not going to jump into. But I will say that Tyrone Prothrow is still to this day the best athlete that I ever played with. And I don't care how tall he was. I don't care if he's covered or double covered or what it is. If I ever felt that he had a chance, he was my guy. And
so
man,
what you're saying is you should have gotten the ESPY.
I didn't even get invited to the ESPYs, not even by the
Wait a minute, how does that work?
He might or might not even run the wrong route, and I still threw it to him. That's neither here nor there either. But, he made the catch. I literally – and that was so pivotal to our year. I'm serious. Like, if that play doesn't happen, we're going into halftime at USM down 11 points playing on ESPN. Like, and, we're at that cusp of – and we've had some good things happen, but we really need we need this win. And so to have that play and then to follow it up with a touchdown the very next play and go into halftime, get the ball back, and then we ended up getting on them pretty good in the second half. But that was a momentum shifter for us. And I'm not saying for that game, I'm saying for that season.
Oh, yeah.
That was one of those momentum shifters that if that doesn't happen, I think that season very easily can go in a different direction. And man, it's pretty cool to remember that play.
Oh, without a doubt. So no ESPY for you, not even like a
no ESPY, not even an invite.
Even an invite.
No.
He should have at least said that my quarterback has to come with me, because Brodie throws the pass, I'm catching it.
He's got the easy part. All he's got to do is catch on the backside of somebody's helmet. I mean, good gracious, how hard is that?
So he doesn't even let you borrow for 1 week out of the year.
I mean, think about the preciseness that had to be put on the back of somebody's helmet. That's a throw.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody can replicate that. There's no question.
That's right.
So the game we all had marked on our calendars that season was against the Florida Gators. Of course, you, along with Pro Throw, Keith Brown, DJ Hall, y'all just dismantled the Gators.
Yeah.
What led to that beatdown? And be honest, y'all already knew that was going to happen, right?
You never have those weeks of practice, Marvin. You're like, remember those weeks of practice where you go, we can do anything we want this week. Like, everything's clicking. Your timing's clicking. You feel so confident in your game plan. You've heard just about all the chatter you want to hear about how good the other team is. And then the other team starts chiming in on how good they are. And they don't even acknowledge that you're playing, and they're coming into your house. And then you walk out on the field, and that was the most electric field I've ever played on before it ever even happened. I mean, the stadium's full during warm-ups. Like, you can just feel it. And then that first play of the game happens where we ran, what was that? Deuce right jam. Yeah, deuce left jam, stutter pass right, seam 408. And we had practiced that play all week. And we always hit the end cut because their safety always got super deep. And so anyway, we run the play, and their safety, for whatever reason, jumped the end cut. It's a two-man route. So now it's Pro one-on-one versus their best corner. But, man, we like our matchup with Pro. And it was one of those, you let it go. And, I mean, if you watch the film, as soon as I let it go, I just put both hands in the air. Guys, like, that's it. And it was still, to this day, the loudest I've ever heard that stadium. And, I mean, there was 80,000 people there because it was back when they were building the new one and had half of it torn down. And from that point on, we couldn't call a play that didn't work. Like, I promise you, it's almost like you could have closed your eyes and just went, let's call that play. And, like, it was just one of those days that you're just unbeatable. And, but, man, I say this for our class, you know, it was something that, man, we endured probation. We might have been one of the last classes that went because it was the University of Alabama, if we're just being honest. I mean, we knew what was coming, and we went anyway. And so to have that game and then to cap it off, winning the Cotton Bowl, you know, you go 10-2 and you ended up, whatever we were, 6th or 8th in the country. You'd have thought we won the national championship because of everything we had been through. You know, I'd just about get you fired at this point in time. It's like, what happened? But, you know, for our group, I think that's something that to this day, when I see Roman or Miko or whoever it might be, it's something that we're all proud of. That, you know, we stuck with it. Nobody left. Nobody transferred. And we were all willing to try to get Bama back to something that obviously isn't what it is to this day. But, man, we like to think we were part of at least moving it in that direction.
Oh, no doubt. Of course, that victory over Florida was big from a national perspective, but to Alabama fans, there was one more game that really meant a lot more, and that was that win over Tennessee. What did that mean to you, and what do you remember most about it other than it being just a defensive battle?
Just frustration that we couldn't put points on the board, but knowing what kind of game you're in, you know, and I think as a quarterback, it's one of the hardest things that you have to deal with. You know, you want to go out there and you want to throw for 300 yards, you want to put 40 on the board, but the reality is, man, other teams have good defenses too, and they had a fantastic defense. Yeah. And it was one of those, both of us could move the ball.
What'd you say? You say Roman tripped and fell? He didn't actually tackle the guy that caused that fumble. He was tripping and falling?
I didn't say that. I don't really care what happened. I just know we got the ball back, and we got to 3rd and long, and I'd been sacked about 5 times already in that game. And, man, we called a play, and I looked at DJ, and I said, hey, bro, just run. He said, what? I was like, just go. I was like, if you get one-on-one, I'm going to throw you a deep ball because I know I can get that off. And he goes, all right. Ultimately, like, all right, but if it don't work, it's on you. You told me to do it. Like, it's on you. Like, we're having this conversation a minute ago in the game. And, man, we dropped back, saw it was one-on-one, saw the guy sitting, and it's like, we got it. Like, I can't believe this is about to work. And, threw that deep ball, got down field goal, and then, kicked it, and that was a pretty cool moment.
That was awesome.
Hold on. So that wasn't the play that was actually called?
I'm not saying what play was called, what play wasn't called.
So what did Coach have to say about that call?
Yeah, I've learned that about changing play calls. Nobody cares as long as it works. Like even now, just in a leadership position, and having the people we're responsible for. It's still one of those. It's like, I know this is what this says, but man, just truly felt that this is what the direction we need to go. It's like, yeah, that sounds great as long as it works. If it don't work, then we'll have a conversation. So I'm not sure it's ever been brought up, to be honest with you.
It's funny. The way you told that story is exactly how DJ Hall always tells me that story. We talk pretty often, and that's spot on how it happened to him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he
said, if this works, we're good. But if it doesn't, it's all on you.
Yeah. Ultimately, if it works, it's due to me. If it doesn't work, it's on you.
Right.
It's like that.
Speaking of him,
DJ, is he good?
Oh, he's good, man. He's living life to the fullest, doing what he was called to do. But speaking of him, a lot of attention has been drawn to the Alabama wide receivers of this new era. These fans don't understand that your wide receiver group really were the first to do it. Can you remind fans about why they should be talked about more?
Oh, our group?
Yeah.
Man, my senior year, we had Keith Brown and DJ Hall as true freshmen, which at that point in time, University of Alabama was unheard of for true freshmen to be coming in and playing like that. But, man, just guys that wanted to go out there and ball. And, man, DJ was tough to be as small as DJ was.
Hey, Brodie, I got a surprise for you.
Who you got?
Tyrone Pro, baby. What's going on, Pro?
What is up? What is
Pro, I held back on telling him the real story of the catch.
He said you owe him that ESPY. He said that ESPY should be at his house in half the year.
He's speechless or the
connection. That's right. He's speechless. He's like, what you tell him?
Yeah, what'd you tell him?
What'd you say now?
We were just all wondering as a listening audience why you went to the ESPYs and you never invited me to go or even mentioned my name in your acceptance speech.
Well, I figure you kind of, so I thought it was an individual right there. So
did you throw it to yourself? Come on, man.
Well, you kind of, I figured I had to do the rest by myself.
He had to do the rest by himself.
You know what? You kind of did. So I give it to you. It's good to see your face. I was down speaking in your neck of the woods not too long ago, a couple weeks ago. I met one of your high school teachers, I believe. I can't remember her name, but sweet lady.
Good.
That's what's
good
up.
Play. And I had been back down there myself, but
well, let me tell you, you still live in Tyrone Protho lore down there.
Wait, I've been waiting on my statue yet.
His statue?
I didn't see it, so it's still not up. So I wouldn't go home yet.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to.
They just gonna go get an action figure from Walmart and just glue it there.
Not an action figure from Walmart.
Bro, I just got through telling them. I said, in my career of playing football, you were the most talented player that I ever played with, and also probably the toughest player that I ever played with. And man, it was an honor.
Oh yeah, I'm an honor to play along. It was just one of those things, man. When I'm here, I I I felt like in my heart that I was good enough, and I was gonna do everything I, block somebody on a play or whether to make a one-handed anything I could to get out there on this opportunity to be out there inside the group. It was amazing.
You did it. You did it as good as anybody ever played it, my man.
Without a doubt.
I gave it my best.
Yep.
And Marvin said he started that GoFundMe for the statue, so that's already in the works.
Oh man, we don't need $5 for that. I got that over there on the couch.
Hey, as long as I'm good with it.
Well, Brodie, I know I interrupted what you were saying, but yeah, go ahead and talk about that receiver group that you were talking about, man, because people really need to take a look at who came before all these guys we see today.
Yeah, I mean, DJ Hall was one of those guys that, man, he was just steady, consistent, make the plays for you. If you ever want to see explosive, go back and watch that slant route in that Florida game that Keith Brown caught in between two linebackers and split two safeties that both had the angle on him. I mean, you talk about just raw speed. And then you can watch stuff on Pro if you want to. He tried to make every catch look more difficult than what it had to be and make the quarterback look bad. That's neither here nor there.
We had a pretty good group. We all gelled together. Those selfish guys in the group, we all wanted to see each other. It was, we had and the arm we had throwing it to it was something pretty once we got clicking and once we got, we all what's off to, I might have been played to help get somebody else open, but we had good. We worked for each other.
Yeah, so definitely an unselfish group. That one of the most unselfish receiver rooms that I've ever seen. Because they all wanted the ball, but man, to see them cheer for the other one, to me, that was what's always set them apart.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if y'all really dealing what ifs, but I do have to ask this question. Brodie, what if you, Pro, and that group are playing in this offensive era of Bama football? What does that look like?
Are you asking me or Pro first? Because I would love to hear his answer.
Well, in the wide open offense that they have now, and to knowing the game and probably throw knowing when you're going to get, clinched to see the ball, I really feel like, we're still today in the offense. Just being able to sling it around to, because all we had to take a short route in about 60. So just, man, I would have loved to have been a part.
All right, Brodie, you're up, man. What does it look like?
Man, that's a great question because you nailed it. I don't play the what if game. It'd have been fun. I mean, I think we had a sampling of it in that spring with Coach Price. Yeah. That, you kind of just throw it all over the yard. A running play is a screenplay. Like, just we kind of got a sampling of it. And I will say it would have been a whole lot of fun that, for the time, that would have been something radically different for the SEC too, though. We were still just ground and pound, good defense, hit your deep ball, like hit your shot when you get your chance. But, yeah, it definitely would have been fun.
Well, before we close up shop, I got to ask this question. What was your favorite game or best game?
That's a hard question. Because you got your memorable games, you got the games that stand out to you, you got the games that people think that you played your best game, but in reality, you really probably didn't, because you know what you should have done and what you shouldn't have. But the thing that I'll never forget is the electricity of that ball game when we played Florida.
Yeah.
And just how that was kind of defining moment for our group. I know a lot of people say, for me and for Coach Shula and different, just that season. But, man, for our group, it was a defining moment that kind of put us back on the national scene and put us back in a place where Alabama needed to be, and what Alabama has taken and obviously grown into a dynasty that's never been seen before. But to just think that, man, not that we had a part of that, but, man, we did our part while we were there. To me, that is something that, man, I'll always be proud of.
That's a good answer. Well, guys, I appreciate y'all being on tonight. True blessing, true honor. Excited to finally have you here, Brodie. It took some time, but hey,
me too.
You made it count, man. We definitely appreciate it. But before I let you go, tell folks how they can find you if you're even on social media, and then again, what's up next for you? What's that next big thing for you? The Big Oak Ranch, or just go ahead and use this time to pop yourself a little bit.
Yeah, man. So one, I'm not on social media, and our communication people are not happy about that. But, man, I do what I do, and I stay in my lane. And one of the it's just one of those things. I live a public life in a lot of ways, and the parts where I don't have to be, I don't necessarily want to jump into that scene. But we have a lot of vision, a lot of growth of where it is that we're going. Have a lot of passion for giving children a chance, and so we have started a few new initiatives of furthering our mission, because at the end of the day, we're building homes and we're growing, but we're adding to that. Every time we build a home, we're adding 6 to 8 spots. We're adding 6 to 8 beds for 6 to 8 kids that previously weren't having an opportunity at life to now they have an opportunity at life. But just had a bigger heart for that. So 4.5 years ago, said, how do we multiply that? Like, how do we go and so just we got to the place of, man, we're going to give it away. Whatever it is that we do, we're going to teach other people how to do it. And so we started what we call Planting Oaks. And it's the idea of, and if you have a heart and an ability to go and start a ranch, forget starting just building a home, we're going to go help you build a ranch that now all of a sudden, man, you start growing by that same. So we're just in this compounding state, and just to see how God's grown that over the last 4.5 years. We've either helped plan or grow 82 children's homes in 25 different states that's currently serving 3,000 children that don't call Big Oak home. That's something that we've really sinking a lot of our energy to from an external standpoint. We're about to start building a campus in Birmingham for our college and career kids that eventually will have 52 bedrooms for our kids that are graduating from the graduating from Westbrook Christian School, Big Oak, and moving on into the next wave. So there's a lot of vision, a lot of things coming down the pipeline, but, man, it all goes back to a very simple passion, and that is to see the hurt receive healing, and to see children that previously didn't have a chance to have a different way of life, and to see now the fruit of that from literally generations. I mean, there's now hundreds of grandchildren of Big Oak Ranch that never experienced the same hurt, the same pain that their parents did. And man, that's our heart. That's our life's mission, and we're doing everything we can to move the needle to fulfill our mission.
That's awesome. Marvin, before I let you close it out, Pro, you're on social media, but I don't know if a lot of fans know this. You're on TikTok. And, folks, you need to go check this out because he has a couple of dance videos. And if you haven't seen those, Pro, go ahead and tell them how they can find you on TikTok.
Well, I mean, it's that great. This school, man, I let a few years into do a few of these that. So it's not nothing special. I think it's a Pro 4 on TikTok. Man, by Tyrone Pro. It's not nothing special though.
Marvin, go ahead and close us out. Guys, we really appreciate you being here with us.
And thanks for having us.
All right. Well, you know what? You can find me as usual. Constant 45. IG, that's about it. You know, hey, keep it simple. That's it. You want to see the book? Grab a copy. Amazon. Physical and mental fitness at 40+. That's all I got for you.
That'll do it. Thanks again, guys. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
All right.
See y'all
Thank
later.
you, fellas.
See ya.
Roll
See you,
Tide.
Pro.
See you.
See you, bro.